listening to Thoughtless Casual Gaming with Brett and Jace. We are a Geelong-based gaming podcast where we play games badly and then talk shit about them. Something different today.
Quality?
No,
okay,
not that different.
Charismatic, informed hosts.
No.
Sensible opinions.
No.
Yeah. Listening that people may want to do more than once. I can go on.
Yeah, none of them are working. What I want you to do, Jace, I want you to cast your mind back. Cast your mind back a couple of years.
Okay.
All right, where are you? What year is it?
Well, I mean, I know it was time to turn the page because I heard the chimes ring. It depends how many years I've just decided to cast my mind back, and that's the piece I'm probably like. It feels like vital information.
I know, right? I didn't give you this, did I?
No.
What year is it?
I could be anywhere. Oh shit! I didn't prep for this. What year is it now?
2025.
Oh fuck me! All right, sure. I mean, I'm going to make some assumptions here and talk through those because I assume we're on a gaming podcast, so we should probably talk something gaming related. So if I bounce back a couple of years, I don't know what years things are, but if I think milestones in my gaming history, and that's not a great term to use, but there was a time not that long ago that we were playing 11s leagues. That was a while ago, actually, when I think about it. That was actually a while ago, or maybe I've jumped too far.
We're probably talking, what, 2018? Sounded
Holy shit, that was a long time ago.
Yes.
I've turned it up to 11.
All right, so let's just assume it's 2018.
Okay, great.
You're sitting in a chair, 2018.
My knees are not hurting?
Your knees are not hurting. And you're thinking back to another year.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
What year are you thinking of?
I'm not sure. My knowledge of time and space is very minimal. And caveat, I am terrible at recollecting what happened in what year. Things are just a blur. And if I think back a little bit further than that, I was probably balls deep in first edition of Malifaux. That was good fun. So that would have, what year was that? I don't know. It was a 20-something.
One more time.
Oh, fuck. All right. So let's go. Okay. Fuck it. We've jumped. We've gone way back. We have jumped. The year is 1998.
No, Jace. Look, the right answer here is 1986.
Oh, fuck me.
1986.
All right. So really quickly, let's do that. It's 1986. I am 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I have recently stopped soiling myself at random.
Wow. I didn't know that had happened.
I mean, I've stopped acknowledging it. It's less frequent. You know, the point where something becomes, rare enough that you can call it never.
1986.
1986. Shit.
What we're talking about is we're going to talk about Blood Bowl for something totally different on this podcast. 1986 is when Blood Bowl first came out. We are talking nearly 40 years now.
So before then it was only heterosexual? Or?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Correct. All right. So what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you a bit of a history and, I might start reading what I've prepared and then decide that it's way too much waffle and then just make up my own stuff.
Great.
But
we're rewriting history.
That's it. I'm going to give you a bit of a history. So let's start with the basics. Blood Bowl. What is it? It's a miniatures board game created by Jervis Johnson for the British games company Games Workshop. You may have heard of them, as a parody of American football.
This all makes sense.
Excellent. Blood Bowl is a two-player turn-based board game that started off with 28mm miniatures to represent a contest between two teams on a playing field. Board containing a grid overlay represents the field. Using dice, cards, and counters, the players attempt to score higher than each other by entering the opponent's end zone with the player who possesses the ball. This is all sounding very familiar.
Like, feels just like life. Yeah.
Yes. If we go to, I don't want to say lore, but Blood Bowl began during a battle between dwarves and orcs, when they stumbled across an ancient arena and found the rules for an ancient religious rite dedicated to the god Nuffle. One of the dwarves translated the ancient tome, don't ask me how, and the two armies used the rules to settle their conflict, and Blood Bowl was born. Dwarf translator took the name of Rose L and became the first league commissioner of the NAF, as teams were created across the known world. The blood in Blood Bowl is represented by violent actions available to players. Gameplay is based on a hybrid of gridiron and rugby. Players may attempt to injure or maim the opposition in order to make scoring easier by reducing the number of enemy players on the field. This is what's great about Blood Bowl. Because it's
life.
Yes. It's not just a sports game, it's a sports game with violence. It's the equivalent of watching ice hockey players run over other people's fingers.
That still gives me the shivers. Like, ice hockey is one of those games. Ice skating in general feels like it's more hazardous than people make it. Like, it's not as hazardous. Like, people make it sound safe. Like, it's not fucking blades on your feet. This is terrifying.
And then you add in all the punch-ons that happen.
Which would be fine if people weren't trying to kick each other in the face. But I watched a solid half of a game that was basically soccer with boxing the other day. I went, that is not as violent as ice hockey. It's not as dangerous.
Player races are drawn from the ranks of fantasy races and have characteristics that reflect the abilities of those races. Elves tend to be more agile and good at scoring, while dwarves and orcs are more suited to the grinding physical style of play.
This feels very stereotypical. I mean, I feel like we need to start expressing people's individuality.
There's a lot of racial stereotypes in Blood Bowl, but let's face it. Teams can include any number of players of the most basic type, usually linemen, while stronger units are limited to 1, 2, 4, or 6 per team. In league play, players can gain additional skills and abilities based on their accumulation of experience points. Players face potential injury or even death on the field throughout their careers. Teams improve by the purchase of off-field staff such as cheerleaders, assistant coaches, and apothecaries. Disparity between team values is offset by the purchase of ad hoc star players or mercenaries, as well as bribes and additional temporary support staff, such as wizards or a halfling cook.
Basically, nothing's changed, is what I'm hearing.
No, a lot of this, like, from the get-go, the basics are there. To a degree. The last thing I'll say about Blood Bowl in particular is it includes numerous tongue-in-cheek references to real-life products or companies. The deity overseeing Blood Bowl is Nuffle, which is a pun on the pronunciation of NFL. The game spoofs at least 4 real-world trademarks, including McDonald's, which is McMurphy's, Budweiser, Bloodweiser, Adidas, Orchidas, and Gatorade, which is Croxerade. Many team names in the game's background are spoofs as well, such as the Auckland Raiders, which are the Oakland Raiders. I don't think they're in Oakland anymore, but anyway.
I have no idea.
And the Dark Side Cowboys, which are the Dallas Cowboys, for those playing along at home. First edition, 1986. This is where we are. And I know you're going to love this. It was the players in the first edition box set were represented by small pieces of cardboard.
This just shows how we have moved
Yes, it
forwards
does.
as a society.
It really does. Although the Citadel did release metal miniatures to represent players for first ed.
I mean, I'm also happy to think back to the editions of Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy that had like you got a whole bunch of generic dudes and then like a little cardboard cutout of a stand of like one of the orc killer cans or a fucking chariot or something. Like they weren't going to drop that amount of cash on a starter box. I get that.
They are still doing it these days. Like there's I forget what they call it, not first edition, but like there is a version of Hero Quest which has just come out, which has all of the player characters in miniatures. And there's big dragon miniature for the big boss, and all the other enemies are in cardboard.
I mean, no, there's no valid reason for that. Be better is the moral
Yes.
of that story. I was looking for some kind of redeeming quality, but alas, no.
For first edition, the pitch consisted of 6 interlocking cardboard sections, end zones and setter split in halves, and with squares marked by the white lines. That was the basic edition. Yeah, that's when it first came out. That's what it was all about. Second ed. Now, second ed was released in 1988.
So 2 years, and they're like, nah, we need to lift our game here.
Pretty much. It began to move Blood Bowl away from the battlefield mechanics of other Games Workshop games and towards more brutal sports-oriented play. The game included plastic miniatures of orcs and humans, with other sets of metal miniatures available from Citadel to represent most, but not all, of the races. The pitch of this edition consists of 3 thick grey polystyrene boards. So 2 end zones and a centre, with squares marked by grooves. This is where I came in. And my God, I had fun. Games Workshop later provided a box supplement Dungeon Bowl dealing with subterranean play and Dwarvish and Elvish teams, and later 2 source books, Blood Bowl Star Players in 1989 and the Blood Bowl Companion in 1990, which added to the basic rules, creating games with greater variation which could easily last several hours. This edition is very different to the current edition because for the main thing is that there were no block dice.
Well, this is an outrage.
Yes. Everything was done using D6s.
Which arguably could be done today.
Yes.
But I don't want to.
Well, I just so happen to have my rule books here. So second ed, I'm going to bring the microphone a bit closer while I get this. So every character had the following characteristics. Movement. Same, except movement was more general. So, for example, in a basic team, all of the players had movement 4.
Okay.
The second characteristics was their sprint characteristic, which was the amount of extra squares they could move if they were sprinting. After that is strength, representing how powerful they are, agility, throwing skill, cool, which reflected the player's ability to remain calm and concentrate under pressure, especially when trying to catch the football. There was a lot of throwing back then. And armor value. So, just as a quick rough idea, the block table was 2d6. So you want to block somebody, you roll 2d6.
Okay.
On a dice roll of 2, the blocking player is injured. Remove him from the game. 3 to 4, the blocking player is knocked over. 5 to 7 is nothing happens. 8, both players are knocked down. 9 to 11, the defending player is knocked over. And 12, the defending player is injured. Remove him from the board. Make sense?
I mean, yes, that
to a
does make
degree.
sense. So I think, real standout moments there is the push is gone. Like
Push is
there's
gone.
no, it's
Yes.
just nothing else. So it's literally violence or nothing.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, and the other thing that sounded like, if I caught that all the way through, is that there is basically equal opportunity for you to go down as them to go down. So if you're
Pretty
always rolling
much.
2d6 and
Pretty much.
the
I
first
mean,
half is,
that's
yeah,
the base table.
yeah,
Typical with GW, there are, you know,
8
pluses
billion
and minuses and
modifiers. Yeah.
all the rest of it. But that is the base thing. Again, base throwing table. For example, quick pass, interception was on a 2. If you rolled
Mm-hmm.
double 1, you missed on a 3 to 5, or it was caught on a 6 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
As they go up, long bomb was intercepted on a 2 to 5, missed on a 6 to 8, and caught on a 9 to 12. Of course, you had to have somebody underneath the template to intercept it, otherwise it was just a miss.
All makes a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of other pieces that I think just on the stat piece. So I think base movement of 4 is fine when you have an additional stat to say you can go this many extra squares, because that effectively just gives you different movement, right?
Yes.
So I think that the consolidation of that makes sense, although I do kind of like the idea of specific players being able to go for it more than others. It seems unnecessary. The one I think I liked is this idea of cool, which is still a stat in Necromunda. It's like one of the willpower stats now of just how calm and collected you are and how many fucks you don't give about other players. Like, you take it away, you give Nerves Steel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. But the idea that would be a variation on a dice roll is kind of fun as well. Yeah, I dig it. And it's fun when you start seeing the stats either disappear and reappear, passing, or they're consistent in other games where you see cool here in fucking 89, and then you see it reappear in Blood Bowl. In Necromunda when it gets released later.
Yep.
Juicy.
Just on that sprint thing, you could move that extra number of squares, but you couldn't end up in a tackle zone. That was one of the rules behind it. So general, ignoring sort of race teams and stuff like this, the lineman had a movement of 4, sprint of +2, strength of 3, edge of 3, throwing skill of 0, cool of 0, armor value of 9. So you'd have the same base stats for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Blitzers, movement 4, sprint +3, strength 4, edge 3, throwing and cool of 0, armor value of 9, blocker 4 move +1, sprint, 4 strength, 2 agility, -1 to throwing skill, -1 to cool, and armor 10. Catch was 4, +4, 2, 4, 0, +1 for cool, and armor value of 8. And then you throw a 4 +3, 2, 3, +1, 0, 8. Now, what I wanted to bring to your attention, if you weren't aware, the injuries in second ed. So many more. Ridiculous more. Okay? So, normal players who are injured during the game are replaced by fit players in time for the next game, but star players may carry the effects of their injury with them. Right? So this is for star players.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of every game, you should roll on the star player's injury table for every injured star player to find out exactly what sort of damage has occurred. This may affect the player's performance in subsequent games.
Now, when we say star player, before we dive right in,
these are like the equivalent of star players these days.
Yeah, okay, great. Right? So they're like named characters as far as we can. Yeah,
yes,
cool.
yes. The star player's injury table. Mm-hmm. Have a guess what kind of a roll you're making for that.
Oh, tell me it's a 66.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
All right. So, for example, 11 to 12 is a concussion. Games missed 1, permanent effects none. We go further up. 23 to 24 is a pinched nerve. Games missed is a D3. Every time the player is stunned or KO'd, roll a D6. On a roll of 1, the pinched nerve recurs, and the player must miss the rest of the match. Then they get phenomenal, right? 65, for example, shattered knee. That star player is out for the next 4d6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Movement and agility -1. Player may no longer sprint, and dodge skill is reduced to level 0. This is my favorite, though, right? If a player suffers a serious concussion or a fractured skull, okay, serious concussion is out for D3 games and AV -1 for the rest of the season. The fractured skull out for 2d6 games. And if they're KO'd on a 4 to 6, they're basically out. They're injured. But anyone that gets that needs to roll a D6. So there's a lot more after game stuff going on here.
So on brand for the table into table
yes.
fun.
I'm just, memories of multiple Necromunda books is coming to my head. Any player who has suffered a serious concussion or a fractured skull should roll a D6. On a roll of 1 to 2, the player becomes punch drunk and suffers permanently from his disabilities. Punch drunk players are easily confused and sometimes even forget which team they are playing for. To represent this, for each punch drunk player once per game at the start of a turn of his choice, the opposing coach may roll a D6 and consult the following table. On a 1 or a 2, the player gets bored and decides to sit down for a while, basically placing them as stunned equivalent, right? On a 3 to 4, the player can't remember why he is playing the game and wanders off to ask the coach. Place the player in the stunned box of the dugout. It will take until the next touchdown is scored for the coach to remind the player exactly what the game's all about. 5 to 6. The player gets totally confused and decides he's playing for the other side. Treat him as a member of the other team until a touchdown is scored or until he is injured. So
That's
much
glorious.
fun. Yeah, it's like and this is why like second ed games could go for quite some time.
Well, but also just thinking, if a lot of those injury tables where like you miss fucking D6 games or 2D6, like how long is a league planned for in that instance?
Yes, I know. On a 66 on that table, incidentally, you roll twice.
Of course, that is such a so on brand. It does really harken back to the games of that era, and playing a whole bunch of Mordheim at the moment is really bringing the table into that kind of fun.
This is what I first started in, and I honestly can't remember too much apart from the fact that we would just make our own rules up as well, and we played numerous games of grabbing 2 of those sets of 3 polystyrene boards and making a 4-player pitch, and just multi-balls and cheerleaders wandering onto the pitch and all sorts of stuff going on. So much fun. From second ed, we go into 1991, where Games Workshop released Crunch, which was a light version of Blood Bowl. Developed by Andy Jones, it was predominantly aimed at the younger gamer as an introduction to the Games Workshop hobby. Simplified version of those in second ed, and is considered a collector's item these days because it's harder to get a copy of that than it is a lot of other things. Then we move into third ed, which is 1994, radically changing the gameplay from the complex, lengthy second ed game to the simpler, more dramatic third edition game. Key changes were a set number of turns and the turnover rule, as well as the introduction of block dice. These changes increased the pace of the game and allowed it to be played within the span of around 2 hours. Third edition also featured a completely new range of miniatures, including new versions of plastic humans and orcs. New range closely resembled Warhammer Fantasy Battle miniatures. Combined with the newly available races mirroring Warhammer armies, Blood Bowl moved much closer to a Warhammer Fantasy Battle. And we move on to a cardboard pitch in this edition.
Now we're starting to talk my language.
Yep.
I can only imagine that the turnover rule was like, that is huge when you think about that is one of the fundamental things about introducing Blood Bowl to like someone to Blood Bowl.
Yes.
Like, that is one of the fundamental things that you have to go, this is a point of difference for the game. The concept of introducing that to an existing game is that mind boggles.
Mm-hmm. And a game that's been out for 8 years at this point.
I mean, it was probably also similar times that GW were introducing things like jam dice or bloody ammo dice and artillery dice and a lot of stuff. So custom dice fit the bill very well. But again, sign me up from going from a 2d6 table to just fucking rolling a block dice. But
yes,
that is huge. And I think that a conscious aligning to Warhammer Fantasy, because it always felt like it was parallel. But of course, I jumped in about here, ish. So,
yeah, the lore was always, for a long time, Warhammer Fantasy, when you started playing that was still sort of based on the European map, wasn't
it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, you'd have that map and you'd have all the cities outlined on it, and but they would correspond to Blood Bowl teams as well. So,
yeah.
And you'd get the name. So, ignoring the Dark Side Cowboys, you'd have stuff like the Marienburg Mariners or Mariners.
Yeah. It was pick a place on the map and then give it an appropriately NFL style. Yeah, steal one of theirs. Yeah.
And alliteration if you can.
The more the merrier.
Yeah. So it was, for a long time, it was very incorporated into the lore of fantasy. Fantasy roleplay, fantasy battle. It was just, you could go to war or you could solve it on a Blood Bowl pitch.
And look, I do think those kind of formative first, second ed years, Games Workshop broadly were still kind of finding their own world in that instance. So it was kind of generic high fantasy stuff for a lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was probably, coming around to that second ed, third ed time where they really sort of locked down, this is our world, our fantasy, our versions of everything. Totally haven't ripped off Tolkien, and we will manage to work out how to, stamp an IP on this.
Orc.
Yeah, as that way. So, it's the beginning of the trademark era.
Yes, very much. So we go on into 4th edition. So Jervis Johnson, this is where history gets a little bit interesting here. So Jervis Johnson produced a new official 4th edition of the Blood Bowl rules and presented it in the Fanatic Games official Blood Bowl magazine issue 1. So we are getting away from the box games. Right. Follow-up rules presented were in issue 2. New rules were a large departure from the previous edition with numerous changes, and Johnson later admitting that some of the changes would have benefited from rather more rigorous playtesting.
That would be off-brand wildly, though.
In 2001, the 4th edition rules with corrections and retitled 4th edition Gold was placed on the Games Workshop website as a downloadable PDF. Yes. And Johnson announced that the new rules were now experimental. Also announced the creation of the Blood Bowl Rules Committee, the BBRC, a group of Blood Bowl players and some GW staff, most were not, that would look at the rules once a year and produce a new change, any updates that they wanted to do. So, BBRC would meet in October each year, with their first release was the Living Rulebook #1 PDF. Physically, they released it in 2002. Fourth edition of the game is almost identical to the third edition, with all pieces remaining the same. So the box set was just rules updates. That's when they sort of stopped.
So it is fascinating, the official shift from, hey, we've made a game, to, hey, we're just going to throw some rules on the internet and see what happens, to, we've just kind of screwed the pooch, we're going to involve some people that actually play the game. Like, that is a huge move, and it really shows a shift from this kind of, like, it was always one of the, specialty games, the specialist games on the side, where you had your Man of Wars and your bloody epics and
Gothic
stuff and all that jazz. But the idea that for one of those games, that was the one that they were going to go, oh no, we're going to instigate a community-led approach to the update and the regular update of rules for this. And then for it to wrap it like that to happen, and then it stops, is this really weird dynamic of the flip between, hey, we've got specialty games and we're going to really invest in them, and we're going to get you involved and make sure that the rules are good, and we're out.
Yeah. See, this is when the NAF that we know, not the game NAF, sort of comes about. The Living Rulebook gets updated a couple of times. So in 2002, it's the first edition. In 2009 is the 6th edition, which was said to be, by the BBRC, to be the final version, and was available from the official Blood Bowl site under the name Blood Bowl Competition Rules Pack, or CRP. Originally, there were plans to release a printed version for Blood Bowl's 20th anniversary, but that never happened. And with the release of that, the BBRC was disbanded. Then we have this period of backyard, garage players playing the game, keeping it alive. Third-party miniatures producers making more miniatures. Very popular.
Yeah, I can turn that off anyway.
Which it kept the game going. The NAF did a good job in that regard. They introduced dice that you could get every year, and there were, I was part of tournaments and all sorts of stuff during this time.
And it was really, as far as I'm aware, because really it wasn't a thing I had a huge amount of visibility for, but it was really one of the first instances of GW dropping a game and the game growing. You had the Living Rulebook updates, the NAF being this kind of semi-rules committee piece on that one, but it was relatively stable. The core game wasn't changing. There wasn't any massive pieces there. The third-party model market exploded, and we're still talking at this point sort of traditional sculpted metal cast stuff. Like, it wasn't the world we live in today where shit's, digitally sculpted and 3D printed the next day. Like, that process of manufacturing and logistics and all that jazz is huge. All of the tokens, all of the third-party dice, the fact that, that was a thing that, well, you couldn't get them, the actual ones, so you had to go out and get them, find them otherwise, but people were actually doing that. It's one of the few instances that GW have dropped something and the community goes, no, we'll do it ourselves, and it actually worked.
And there were more teams and stuff that got created through the Living Rulebook and stuff. Vampires, they weren't a thing before then. Ogres, Khorne, numerous teams. To get to the point that we are today, like we have that time period and the people that kept it running and kept playing it to thank, really. Because it wasn't until November 2015 that Games Workshop announced the reintroduction of specialist games and announced a new version of Blood Bowl was in development. At Warhammer Fest in May 2016, various elements of the new edition were announced, including a double-sided pitch, all new plastic miniatures, and an initial wave of teams: humans, orcs, Skaven, elves, Nurgle, and dwarf. Pick the odd one out there. With future expansions in development to add more teams to the games.
Cue outrage.
Yes. This is, the internet's up and running full pelt at this point. Right? The outrage, the outcry, this is our game, you can't have it back.
All of those things, you're just going to ruin it, so we're just going to stick playing. Like that standard piece of, we're just going to, every time GW updates a game and someone goes, well, I'm just going to play the old edition because it was better, you've ruined it again.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have years of community ownership and stewardship and governance and everything, and for GW to come back in and go, nah, it's ours again, and almost blindside everybody, as far as I'm aware, with this whole idea of, that thing you've been putting sweat and tears and hours and everything into. Nah, just we'll have that, thanks.
It came out of left field. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting to see a Blood Bowl game again. But, I mean, the 2016 rules are not very different to the Living Rulebook in its last iteration.
It was one of the smartest moves they could have made, though, is to just go, we're taking it back, but we're actually going to acknowledge and kind of honor and respect the work that's come into it. And frankly, we don't think we can do much better.
Yep.
So let's throw some branding over some stuff and change, let's change the font so it looks like our own work. Like, it was very much the plagiarized university assignment type effort of that.
Yes.
But also, how do you try and do that without pissing off an entire community, I guess, is you throw some respect back at the work that they've done.
Mm-hmm. And to be quite honest, it's the greatest thing that's happened for the game.
I love it.
Because, you talk 2014, you're playing with mates that have played for years. It's not a game that many people are getting into.
No, it was kind of the Fight Club of games.
Yes.
If you knew a guy or knew a guy, or you saved the life of a Blood Bowl player, or you were the son of a Blood Bowl player, like, all of those things were reasons that you would get into the game. And there was this thriving community, but it was still a pretty insular, finding new players when we know that Warhammer 40k picks up a new player every 3 minutes or something. It's bullshit.
Yeah, Blood Bowl was not the done thing, and now you can't get an awful lot of it in GW stores. Most GW stores, let's be honest, but you can order it. There's a lot of stuff that GW have put out for the game, and continue on doing it and introducing these new teams.
A little bit faster would be nice, but continue.
Correct, but without that, we don't get the play base that we've got now.
No, it's so much harder, even if you are one of the people that are playing it, right? If you're trying to recruit players to play a game that they've never heard of, they can't get any information about by walking into all of the places they normally would go, because we're still in a pretty high kind of walk-in market at this point in time as well.
Yep.
Like, people are actually going to stores and doing shit. So it legitimizes the game for a lot of new players.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a lot more accessible for them to go in and find out what it is and where to buy shit and everything. And it's not some sweaty nerd going, you should play this game I think is awesome, but you have to get the rules downloaded from this place. You've got to sign up and get a membership number at this organization you don't know of. And then you've got to go onto this website whose name you can't pronounce and order all your things from somewhere in the Ukraine. Like,
I think I know which website that one was.
I still get it wrong.
I can't do it. Yeah, and you've got it's really a golden age at the moment. We've got at our fingertips everything we could possibly want. And we have access to it, whether we want to go the GW way or not. Everything, you can get block dice from your local crappy, podcast hosts, or you can get the GW ones, or you can get fancy metal ones that you could kill a small child with. Miniatures, you can buy the GW sculpts, or you can go to any of the 3 people that make STLs for this game.
3? I mean, I can think of half a dozen off the top of my head without too much of a thing, right? But it's a saturated market comparatively.
Yes.
And I think, it's also it's probably one of the best examples of the community and Games Workshop working in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there are, Warhammer 40k tournament organizers and GW hosted events and stuff like that. But actually, you've got this, what was a really insular, separate, segregated community over here. GW have come and taken their game back, and they've both continued to exist, and they've both continued to kind of cross-populate and cross-collaborate, and all of those things. I think it's surprising given what we've come to expect.
Correct. So the GW way back when they would run, I think it was 3 or 4 different tournaments a year. The Chaos Cup was one. Spike Magazine was another. GW have come back, but they don't run those tournaments still. They've left them in the hands of the people that have taken them and kept them going. So it is very much unlike GW. It's
especially when you've got something as high profile as something like the Blood Bowl World Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, that was fucking huge. And for GW to go, oh, actually, no, we'll have one of those, please, that would be what I would think is on brand. But actually, it feels like, 2 parts of that. One is it's probably not the biggest money spinner because the amount of third-party stuff that is out there is excessive, wonderfully excessive. But it feels on brand for them to go, no, we want the biggest one in the world. If you're going to have, for a British company, they're very American.
Yes.
We're having a World Cup. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be the best World Cup ever. It's going to have more players. It's going to have more blood. It will have more bowls than any other cup that you have ever been to in the world.
In fact, it's not just going to be this world. It's going to be all worlds.
Yeah, this will be the Universal Cup to end all cups. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree on all points. The last edition, the last one we've had, Blood Bowl 2nd season edition. So this is the current one that they're all playing at the moment. It's introduced, passing skill back in and stuff like that. It was released on the 27th of November 2020. So nearly 5 years ago. So it's been going a while.
It has been going quite a while. And firstly, for GW to hold an edition for that long is impressive, without significant changes. And I know there's a world of erratas and FAQs and new teams and erratas and FAQs for the new teams, and then how the new teams interact with the old teams and how the new rules that they've introduced for the new teams interact with the old teams for the old rules. But still, Like, they have not really found a way to get all of the people playing the game to rebuy the game in 5 years.
No. I mean, what have we had? We've had Dungeon Bowl.
Bought that.
Yep. And Gutter Bowl.
Bought that. Yep.
I mean, they're bringing out enough little tidbits to keep us dangling on the hook. And, a little bit more, like as you said, would be nice. A couple more teams.
Fucking lovely, but yeah.
Yeah. But, we'll keep buying it. And that's the thing. I mean, Blood Bowl won't make GW the shit ton profit that everything else makes them, 40k especially, because a lot of people will just buy one team, one set of rules, and away they go, and that's all they need. But, then there's a lot of us who will buy every rule book that comes out and every expansion and, almost every team.
And the weird magazine thingies they keep publishing occasionally.
Yeah, I've got all of those. No, I haven't missed a single one of those. And I've got dice for all the teams now. There's something to appeal to the obsessive collectors in me, and other people of my ilk.
No, just you.
Okay, just me. I'm sure there's another one out there. Come on.
I mean, odds are probably somewhere, but
God help us all. That's what I have. A brief history of this game that we play a bit of.
Weird that it's a brief history, given that it comes in boxes. But it is a fascinating piece, and it really does sort of go from it follows such a traditional GW trajectory until it deviates. Like, it just doesn't take that left turn at Albuquerque and it goes off the rails.
Yep.
And it goes, now we're out. Now we're back in. And the coexistence with the Blood Bowl community is the piece that continually amazes me, and the fact that you've got so much third-party stuff out there. And I know full well that GW have done kind of IP binges on Blood Bowl stuff in the same way that they have done it. But if it doesn't seem like they have said those models look like our models. It seems to be on that's called the same thing as ours, and I need to see a level of differentiation, which is weird. Like, you could have a High Elf team, a High Elf Blood Bowl team that looks like the GW High Elf Blood Bowl team, but actually a little bit nicer, which is fine as long as you don't call it Blood Bowl High Elf. But Noble Elves for fantasy football is acceptable.
Low elves.
Yeah, mate, there's so much of that trash of just wealthy elves is fine. High elves, not so much. Stoned elves, okay. High, not anyway. It's just there's so many of those things, and I'm watching all of the current creators come up with creative names for things. You're watching some things kind of get removed from the public view while they work out how to rename it and rebrand it and throw it back in there. And for a secondary, like, it's a specialist game still, it's never going to be one of their main money makers. It's interesting that they seem to be less protective of that, and I could be off the mark completely, but it seems like they're less protective of that than I've seen creators come out with stuff for Underworlds as an example, and that got shut down pretty damn quick.
Okay, because I never saw anything like
that. Similar kind of concept, and look, there wasn't much of it, but it felt like somebody tested the market with that one, and it just went, nah, too much, too close, go away. So it was this real protection of that. And Underworlds is tricky because not only is it like a generic, like you need positions as an example, blockers, blitzers, whatever, but they were specific characters. And you needed to, as a player, be able to recognize each individual piece a little bit more. So maybe that just got too close to the edge, but it feels like this just kind of agreement that don't get too close, and we'll just let you do what you want.
Yep. No, great. And,
I know.
you've got, the NAF is still a thing.
Huh?
It's still very much a thing. They run tournaments. They give their approval for tournaments.
They have mutinies. They,
Yes, they have, a website from 1986.
they now have a way for tournament organisers to rank the players who play people who aren't NAF registered, which has been the massive wrinkle in the,
Yep.
face of every tournament player ever since. Like it's evolving, it's updating, it's consistent, and there's some cool stuff like the if we think about other stuff like Fumble, which is the other way that it gets played a lot, which is the PC sort of internet based option.
Pixels.
It's very pixels, which you think would appeal, but absolutely doesn't. All of the Secret League teams, all of the additional expanded stuff. Like, there's a lot of third-party content. There's a lot of third-party rules. There's a lot of third-party accessories and models and stuff. And it's just like, sure, do what you want. Be
That's
good.
the thing. You can choose. You can pick and choose and go, right, well, I want to play Living Rulebook, and you still can. And, you can play Blood Bowl how you want to play Blood Bowl. And there are many different options. You've got your Fumble, you've got your Cyanide games, you've got, all these varieties. You can go back and play First Ed, Second Ed, if you've got the...
I mean, you theoretically can do that with all of the games, but I think this is one of the few ones where it feels actually plausible that someone might do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Because there's just that rich history, even though I think, and maybe because GW dropped it for so long. And, people just said, this is a damn good game, and if GW aren't making it, then we want to keep playing.
With blackjack and hookers.
Yeah. Matter of fact, forget the blackjack.
And the Blood Bowl.
And the Blood Bowl. All right. That's it for the history. Shall we move on?
Let us move on to...
Love it. This whole musical button thing is just fantastic.
I need more musical buttons. I need more things.
I think we both do. Like,
I've got to turn the page. Hang on. Oh, that one cut out.
I got two. I need to make more. This or that. I'm going to pose a question to you, and I don't know that there's a right answer here.
I mean, there probably is.
Probably be a more popular answer. Good guys or bad guys? Yeah. This can be however you want it, whether you want to make it sort of movies or
bedroom or whatever.
Blood Bowl, however you want to think about it. Do you have a side, let's say, that you tend to gravitate towards more?
Yes. Yes, Blood Bowl is probably not a great example because I think everybody's a good guy in that, fundamentally. But I would say, expand on this a little bit. I would probably go mostly good guys. But also I tend to go the B list of good guys where I can.
Like the booster golds of the world.
Yeah, like, and if we take DC as an example, I'm not playing Batman and Friends. I'm probably playing Titans, or I'm playing like one of the extra Young Justice over Justice League every day of the week. Like that's where I live. But I'm probably playing good guys in most instances. I'm probably, if I'm playing Baldur's Gate, I'm probably playing the good options before I go back and do that. If I'm, for stuff or bloody Force Academy or whatever it used to be, I'm going through the good options first.
Yep. Cool. All right, I'll accept that as an answer because I'm totally the opposite.
I absolutely know that. Yeah.
Joker over Batman, Boba Fett over Luke Skywalker. You know, I've
Is he a
always
bad guy?
he is in the films. He does the
Uh,
bad things.
I mean, he
You know.
does the things he's paid to do.
Yeah, but when you're a kid watching that film, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, fair
He's
call.
the
I'll
one
give you
that
that.
takes Han Solo. He's the cool looking bad guy. All the bad guys look cool, which is why I like Chaos and stuff in Blood Bowl because they all look cool. Elves just look like elves.
Which is suggesting that they don't look cool. And I think there's a. But
Yes.
I would also say though, if we expand on this just a fraction wilder, like name a metal band who has a font that you can read. Like it's that kind of cool. It's like Chaos is having the spiky font you can't read.
Yep.
That's the kind of cool it presents.
Yeah. So you're leaning more towards the Metallicas of the world, and I'm leaning more towards the cattle decapitation.
Yeah, I feel like it's Cannibal Corpse on one hand, it's something you can actually read on the other.
Pungent stench. Yep, I'll pay it.
That's where I'm
All
at.
right.
Let's see what the community decides. There will be a Discord poll.
Yeah. Speaking of which, if you're not in our Discord, why not? Jump in our Discord. There's some cool people.
Yeah, they're not us. Yeah, let's be clear. It's not us. There are lots of other more wonderful humans.
Yes, absolutely. What's on? So, I think the big thing we need to talk about, why so serious?
That is definitely on.
Yes.
And we should really get it on.
Yes. We announced why so serious, and then we've started up the Facebook group, a Facebook event rather, and we've loaded up the Beyond Blue event page as well. But it's time we start delving into it in more detail. We're going to have another points system thing going for various stupid things that you can do leading up to and including on the day. But what this is all about is this is the silliest tournament you'll ever go to this year. It's wacky, it's crazy, it's built for fun. We like to think of it as fun, and that seems to be the overriding feedback we get.
Even if it's not fun, right, the idea is that it is built as almost an antithesis to competitive play.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to a Blood Bowl tournament to go, I'm going to play this team and I'm going to do as well as I possibly can in games, and I'm going to walk away with hopefully a ranking and a shiny piece of award because I did good. This is the opposite of that, in that we don't want people there to do good at the game. We want people there just to do stupid shit and giggle. So that is kind of the concept of, we're going to make this tournament as conducive to doing stupid shit and giggling as we possibly can, rather than encouraging people to do the most well thought out, rational, competitive things that they would normally be encouraged to do, because you have a billion tournaments where you can do that. And sometimes you just want to let your hair down.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Looking at this screen, that was the wrong analogy to use.
Tickets are on sale now. We will get a players pack up as soon as we possibly can, because that's got to be first order of business. Not that it's going to tell you an awful lot, because the wacky surprises are surprises, and you'll get them on the day. But tickets, $25 each. It's in Geelong. It is on 1st of November.
The 1st of November.
1st of November. Really can't stress this enough. If you're at all interested in playing silly games of Blood Bowl, this is the tournament for you.
You don't need to be good at it.
No, newbie friendly. anybody friendly, really.
It is, and the other half of that is that the games are not serious. The other half of why we're doing it is, though, and the idea that we can do a little bit of a give back to a cause that is really, really important. So we are, again, partnering with Beyond Blue with an idea that we will try and raise some well-needed dollary dues to support mental health.
Very, very important cause. We raised, I think it was $1,600 last year. We want to do better. So all proceeds from the day, we will have raffles and auctions and all sorts of stuff. We will have games going on in amongst the games of sevens going on. But all for a good cause. You know, every dollar that we make is going to straight to Beyond Blue. So if you can get involved in any way, shape or form, if you can't make the tournament, you can make a donation on the Beyond Blue page. That's up and running at the moment.
But also make the tournament. Trust me, it'll be worth it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah. That's all I've got. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, I had nothing from the start, so...
Neither of us had anything important to say, but we're still here an hour later. So.
On brand.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, it's typical.
Yeah. Give us a follow, Facebook, Spotify, Podbean, Twitch. Jump in our Discord. Like we said, lots and lots of awesome people and us. And as always, thank you very much to our Patreons. Thank you to our lifetime Patreons, Alison Clinton, and our Thoughtless Patrons, and Archie, Craig, Gertzy, Jared, Kingsley, and Yuri. You guys are all awesome.
Wild.
That's it from us. Laters.
Gotcha.
No.